It was a steamy summer night in Burlington, North Carolina. Jennifer Thompson was a 22-year-old college student who lived alone here in the Brookwood Garden Apartments. At about 3 o'clock in the morning, she heard a noise by the side of her bed.
When I first woke up, I actually tried to go back to sleep. I was hoping that it was a nightmare, and so I actually tried to close my eyes again, and I heard the noise again, and I turned my head over to the side, and I said, "Who is it? Who's there?"
And did anyone answer?
No. He just jumped up from the side of the bed and straddled my hands and put the knife to my throat.
Jennifer knew she couldn't fight him. She was just 5'1", weighing 100 pounds. She tried to stay calm and to be smart.
So I just figured that since I couldn't fight, I would fight another way.
You would survive.
I would survive. Right?
And you would help catch him.
That was my intention, was to nail him to the wall.
Even as she was being raped, Jennifer summoned the strength to study her attacker. In the streetlight, through her bedroom blinds, she tried to memorize his face, his eyes, his hair. She spoke to him, gathering clues, winning his trust. After about half an hour, she convinced him to put down the knife and let her go to the kitchen to get something to drink. Wrapped only in a blanket, Jennifer saw her way out.
I was running the water, I was throwing ice cubes in my metal sink, I was opening up cabinets and drawers, making enough noise that while I was making the noise, I was slowly opening the door. And I just took that leap of faith and took a big breath of air and just ran.
Jennifer was taken to the hospital for a rape examination kit, a full-body search for blood, hair, or semen evidence. It was there that she learned her rapist had struck again, just an hour and a half later and less than a mile from her home. Jennifer felt more determined than ever to help police catch her attacker.
She made it very clear to me at the onset that she was going to get the guy that raped her. She made it her business to look at him well so that she'd be able to identify him later.
And she had the information to back it up.
Oh, yes, yes.
You know, he's an African-American male, he's in his early 20s. He had on a blue shirt with white stripes. He had on dark pants, like army fatigue, that I thought they were like army pants at the time. I could describe his shoes.
Jennifer's memory was soon put to the test. Feature by feature, she worked with police to create a composite sketch.
Did the eyes go up this way? Did they go down that way? Ears and eyelashes and nostrils, how the nostrils flare.
The sketch was posted all around Burlington. Police received information about 6 potential suspects, all with criminal records, all with photos on file with the police. 2 days after the crime, they called Jennifer in to do a photographic lineup.
So when you looked at the photos, did one of them stand out to you?
Mm-hmm.
Right away?
Yeah.
And whose was it?
It was Ronald Cotton's.
My mother's boyfriend was standing on the front porch, and once I was about ready to enter the apartments, he told me, "Sir Ron, the police were looking for you." And I asked him for what? And he told me for a rape.
Ronald Cotton was 22 years old and worked at a seafood restaurant near Jennifer's home. He borrowed a neighbor's car and drove to the police station to try and clear things up.
Were you a little nervous going over there knowing that they suspected you of this very serious crime?
No, because I know I hadn't committed no crime.
Ronald Cotton had no way of knowing that drive down to the police station would be his last act as a free man for a long time. When he got there, he learned police had found shoes under his bed that matched the shoes that Jennifer described. The shoes were missing chunks of insole, similar to a piece of foam left behind by the rapist. Cotton's flashlight was identical to the one stolen from the second victim's car. And then there was his alibi. Cotton told police he was with friends the night of the rapes. His friends later denied it. And Cotton had a record. One conviction for breaking and entering, another for assault with intent to commit rape. Ronald Cotton was under arrest. The final test would be a physical lineup, a chance for the victims to see and hear their alleged attacker. Cotton and 6 randomly selected men were lined up, right across the room from Jennifer. Her memory was critical because the second victim hadn't gotten a good look at her attacker.
You were number 5.
Yes. They told me to step forward and say, "Hey, baby, how you doing? Shut up, I'll kill you." So I stated it, turned around, stepped back.
In January of 1985, in the Alamance County Courthouse, Ronald Cotton went on trial. With the circumstantial evidence and Jennifer's powerful testimony, it took a jury just a few hours to convict Cotton of first-degree burglary and first-degree rape. He was sentenced to life plus 50 years.
I was so relieved. I thought, this is it. It is over. I can move on with my life.
Cotton filed an appeal, but appeals take time. But as he waited in prison, Ronald Cotton made a crucial discovery. Another inmate arrived from the same town, also convicted of rape. Another tall, black man, a man Cotton thought looked very much like the sketch of Jennifer's rapist. That man was Bobby Poole.
I told him, I said, you resemble the picture of the guy that committed the crime I'm in for. I said, did you do it? And he said, no.
But then later you heard some talk in the prison that Bobby Poole was going around to inmates and telling them that he, in fact, had raped Jennifer Thompson and a second woman that night, not you.
Yes.
Ronald Cotton wrote his lawyer.
Mr. Mosley, there is no doubt in my mind that Bobby Poole did the crime I'm serving time for. I work in the kitchen here with him, as well as sleep in the same dorm. Mr. Mosley, Poole is the one.
Police had not known about Bobby Poole at the time of Jennifer's rape, so his photo was not one of the 6 she saw, and he was not in the physical lineup. Jennifer never saw Bobby Poole and Ronald Cotton side by side until the fall of 1987, when Cotton was granted a new trial, and defense attorney Phil Mosley put Jennifer's memory to the test.
We had subpoenaed Bobby Poole into the courtroom, and at that time, both Jennifer and the second rape victim had an opportunity to see Bobby Poole, see Ronald Cotton right there with each other.
When you saw him, did you think maybe he's the man?
No.
Not even for a moment?
No. You have to realize this has been 3 years now. And Ronald Cotton's face had become a permanent fixture in my brain. He was the face of my nightmares. Every night, I couldn't go outside in the dark. I couldn't go from my bathroom to my bedroom alone in the dark.
And when you saw Bobby Poole,
I just thought, oh, this is another game. They're trying to throw me.
Both victims swore Cotton was their rapist. A second jury voted to convict. This time, Cotton got 2 life sentences, plus 54 years.
you had to go back to prison with Bobby Poole, a man you believed had really committed the crimes you were convicted of.
Yes.
How did you control yourself?
It was hard. I wanted to really hurt this guy. But my father, he told me, he said, no, he said, don't do it. He said, just let his conscience eat him, and eventually, you know, he'll confess.
Lord, Lord, one day when I was lost.
Ronald joined the prison choir to lift his spirits. It seemed Ronald Cotton would live out his life behind bars. 10 years passed in prison, yet Ronald Cotton never stopped trying to prove his innocence. He watched the O.J. Simpson trial and learned about DNA testing, a technology that had not existed when he went to trial. Cotton got the attention of a University of North Carolina law professor, Rich Rosen. Cotton told Rosen he'd like to try DNA testing in his case.
My first reaction was to warn him that it could boomerang, that if in fact there was any chance his DNA could show up in that, he needed to understand that this could destroy any chance he would have for a new trial and eventual freedom. Once he said he wanted to go ahead with it, then I was willing to try, though I was still very skeptical of the possibility of finding anything to test.
But back at the Burlington Police Department, sitting on a shelf in the evidence room, was a paper bag with the now 10-year-old evidence. Inside the rape kit of the second victim, on one of the vaginal swabs, scientists were able to isolate a tiny fragment of sperm that they could test against Cotton's DNA. The results confirmed what he had been saying all along. The DNA did not match. Ronald Cotton was an innocent man. The lab obtained samples of Bobby Poole's DNA and found a match. Science proved Poole had raped the second victim. But in Jennifer's case, they couldn't find any sperm to test. So Mike Galden returned to the prison, hoping to get answers from Bobby Poole.
I think he saw that it was of no value to continue to deny it. He laid out both sexual assaults, how they occurred in the right order, how he entered the respective residences, how he found the victims.
He knew details only the rapist would know.
That's right.
You knew that day, 11 years after Ronald Cotton went to prison, that you had the wrong man.
Exactly.
How did you feel?
Terrible.
Why were you so sure it was Ronald Cotton for all those years?
Because he looked like the man who raped me. And the more I saw him and the more we got physical evidence, it just all was, yeah, this is the man. And he doesn't have an alibi. You know, your mind starts telling you, you're right. See, you were right.
On June 30th, 1995, Ronald Cotton walked out of the Alamance County Courthouse a free man.
It was a good feeling. I looked up and I said, thank God.
Slowly, carefully, Ronald Cotton set out to rebuild his life. He got a job working in the warehouse of LabCorp, the company that performed the test that set him free. He fell in love with a co-worker and got married. But while Ronald Cotton flourished, Jennifer fell apart. She couldn't sleep. She sat and cried for hours at a time.